The genre of survival horror is certainly a popular one, and developers and gaming companies are keenly aware of this. No matter how many titles get released, it seems that fans just can't get enough of monsters, zombies, and ominous locations. Sons of the Forest, the sequel to The Forest, which was released in early access in 2014 and officially released in 2018, takes the experience a step further by providing players with a survival horror simulator. Now, if you're not entirely sure what that means, don't worry, because today we're looking at 5 things you need to know about Sons of the Forest before you play. Let's get to it. Number 1. The map in Sons of the Forest is huge. The forest is set in a remote peninsula, and walking from one side of the map to the other will take you several minutes. In Sons of the Forest, you'll be pleased to know that the map is about 4 times bigger. If this information is correct, it means it'll take you about 1 hour to traverse the entire island. That's if you walk it, of course. Anyway, the good news here is that there'll be plenty more for you to explore and ostensibly more to do. I assume that Sons of the Forest will allow you to build ziplines so you can get from one place to another more rapidly, and I also assume that both boats and gliders will feature once again. I'm not too sure whether or not other vehicles or means of traversal will be included in Sons of the Forest, but we'll definitely find out soon enough. Number 2. Sons of the Forest features an all-new AI system. In order to create the most realistic survival horror experience possible, Endnight, the developers behind Sons of the Forest, took the time to craft an intricate AI system that they call Veil. In other words, you're not going to be dealing with your standard NPCs here. Veil's primary function is to determine the behaviors of the island's inhabitants. So much like real human beings, if characters get tired, hungry, or thirsty, their mental state will be adversely affected. Now, although this is already impressive, Veil actually goes a little bit further than that. So the way you treat and respond to enemies will affect the way they behave. For example, if you act aggressively and hunt them out in the open, they might be more inclined to stay underground and attack you at night when you least expect it. Put more simply, enemies won't necessarily attack you in a mindless fashion. This means every choice you make will have real-world consequences, some of which will be good and others not so good. Sons of the Forest should allow you to experiment with a variety of approaches and find the ones that work best for you, and hopefully this will provide you with hours of additional fun and intrigue. Number 3. Crafting and building will play an important role in Sons of the Forest and will be much improved. I think it's safe to say that Endnight already learned a whole lot from the Forest. All the feedback received and experience gained over the years has allowed Endnight to create a more robust game overall. To this end, you'll be able to build and craft a whole range of useful stuff in a far more intuitive way. By performing and combining actions and simply using your axe in the right places, you can quickly craft items and get things done in a matter of minutes or even seconds. Again, Sons of the Forest emphasizes the survival part of survival horror. So if you don't build shelters, hunt game, and carefully manage your resources, then let's just say that the cannibalistic mutants wandering the island will be the least of your worries. Number 4. Sons of the Forest will feature changing seasons. Surviving out in the wild is a difficult task, and of course the climate itself can be a challenge in its own right. For this reason, all 4 seasons will feature in Sons of the Forest, so this means you'll need to plan and coordinate your activities quite carefully. For example, in spring and summer there should be plenty of game to hunt and eat. However, in winter, when many animals hibernate or simply do their best to avoid the cold, fresh food will be a lot more scarce. This means that you'll need to store food for the colder months and even defend it from predators, be they animal or mutant. Different seasons and weather will also affect how enemies behave, so you'll need to be aware of this and remain vigilant at all times. The addition of changing seasons should make the experience that much more immersive and realistic, so I'm sure that most fans will find this particular mechanic very satisfying indeed. And finally, number 5, you can co-op Sons of the Forest. Much like its predecessor, Sons of the Forest will allow you to play the game alone or with up to 7 friends in online co-op. Yes, that's 8 players total. With an even bigger map, new arsenal of weapons, and a whole bunch of horrifying enemies to face off against, Sons of the Forest promises an enhanced single and multiplayer experience for gamers. I have to admit that the visuals and environments from the game look incredible, so it's really no surprise that Sons of the Forest is the most wishlisted game on Steam at present. Early access for Sons of the Forest begins on February 23, 2023. The game should remain in early access for about 6 to 8 months, but this may change depending on feedback received. Also, Sons of the Forest will only be on PC, at least for the foreseeable future. Hopefully the game does eventually make it to consoles, but no promises. So that's 5 things you need to know about Sons of the Forest, as well as a little bit of extra info. So are you going to be playing Sons of the Forest when it releases in early access? And is there anything else about the game you think we should know? Please let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Now, if you would be so kind as to like this video and subscribe to the channel so I can keep bringing you content on a regular basis, I would really appreciate it. So that's pretty much it for today. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video. Later!